to change things up this summer, doing a lot more lives. We're going to start with Instagram, but then maybe incorporate Facebook and YouTube. It's all about growing that audience. So also messing with these algorithms that I think tend to be a little tricky these days, especially with Instagram. So it's a love-hate relationship with that. But we have a special guest. That is Mr. Bond Henry for you all common folks. He's straight out of Chicago, and we're glad he is joining us today with our live episode. How you doing, Bond?
Very good. How are you?
Hey, pretty good, man. It's been a little while. I think it's been almost a year. Last time we spoke, it was the end of summer this time around, and you've had some exciting things coming up, and actually a new song that it's about maybe 3-4 months old, Where the Road Is.
Mm-hmm.
And, with a good friend of ours, Rosalind Turner. So I wanted to talk about that. Before we get started, I just want to let everybody know, again, this is going to be something new that we're doing on Fridays, typically around 4 o'clock Central Time. And just inviting old friends, new friends, but just trying to change things up a little bit. So I wanted to give an opportunity to you, Mr. Bond Henry, just to let everybody know who you are, especially if we're not familiar with you, if we didn't catch that first episode, and what you've been up to and where you're from, if you don't mind.
Yep. So I'm Bond Henry, lead singer of Bond Henry Band from Chicago. And I just released Where the Road Is a couple months ago, and I actually got Rosalind Turner to play on that particular song from one of your episodes with her. I reached out to her, and she actually lives a couple hours away from Chicago in Indiana. And I said, hey, would you mind playing? And so I sent her the track. She went to a studio in her hometown, and she recorded her parts, sent them over to us. And, the drummer of Bond Henry Band, Amory, he owns Gravel Road Studios, and he chopped it up, and there you go. You got the song.
If you don't mind, let's go ahead and just tell us in terms of the story behind Where Road Is, and get into that a little bit too. I wanted to talk about just you play a lot of gigs in Chicago and just the music scene in general in Chicago, because when I think of Chicago, I'm not thinking of country music or even Americana. So if you don't mind, first, at least let us know about what the music culture is like in the Windy City.
Chicago's music scene is, it's pretty much, I don't know, it's very weird. There's not really a particular scene, like when you think of country music, you think of Nashville or, Austin, Texas, you expect like live music or whatever. And in Chicago, there's live music venues everywhere, but there's no like exact strip or scene that you would go to see something. You just kind of, gotta find out where you fit in, and then, try to get some shows there, and just try to get your name out there in the city. I mean, like I said, my old band, Sons of Mary, we were pretty big in Chicago. We would play House of Blues, stuff like that. And we're trying to get back there now with this new project. And particularly recently, we've been playing. I do see that there's more of a resurgence lately in Chicago for country music. Particularly, we've been playing at the Emerald Isle a lot. The owner, Dave, he's really into country music and the Nashville scene. So he really tries his best to bring a lot of singer-songwriters up from Nashville to come up here and to play, 2-3 night stands either here or Wrigleyville North, which is where we're actually playing tonight and tomorrow at 9. But he'll try to bring them up, and he still tries to keep it very traditional to like the way Nashville does it as far as the singer-songwriter scene goes. Like last week I filled in at Emerald Isle. I sat in with a country singer named Jimmy Stanley, and we did it kind of like songwriter style. He played a song, I played a song, he played a song, I played a song. And we just kind of did that for like 3 hours. And then, so that's kind of where we're at right now. Obviously Chicago has a lot of, you go downtown, you're going to hear DJs and a lot of house music. Obviously, Chicago's known for house music. But it's very eclectic as to what you're going to hear. Because like today, I had lunch after my godson's graduation at a at a barbecue restaurant in a hipster neighborhood that was playing Stevie Ray Vaughan the whole time. So you don't know what you're going to get. So.
Well, why do you think Americana and maybe country music is making this resurgence in a place like Chicago, in a big city?
Well, the thing about Chicago that people really gotta really understand is like, particularly like my family. I'm the first generation in my family to live in Chicago. Everyone in my family lives in the South.
Yeah.
My father's from Chattanooga. My my grandfather from the Ozark Mountains. My grandmother, she lived in Memphis. So pretty much my entire family's from the South, and also, the Midwestern towns had a lot of that migration because of all the factory jobs, particularly Chicago. That was at one point we were the largest manufacturing hub in the world. So you had pretty much every group of people that wanted to come here to work, and there are a lot of people from the South who are their home base is here now, just due to the fact that they came to work in the factories.
When you say your family, are they also from this musical background? I know that you play a lot, but and you mentioned your dad. Was he part of this musical culture, especially from Tennessee, from the South?
Yeah, my dad. My dad's been playing guitar for me since I was a little kid. Country music. My dad grew up in Chattanooga, but he lived in Nashville for a long time, and he tried to do country music down there for a while. He was on the scene when he was friends with guys like Jerry Lee Lewis, Marty Robbins. He raced cars with Marty Robbins. My dad did.
Wow.
So, this is like country music's pretty much something that I've been, when I was young, I rebelled against it because that's all I was allowed to hear was country music. There was nothing else. And then as I got older, I just kind of came back to it. And it just it's very, very at home for me, especially vocally. It makes more sense for me. And plus, a lot of my songs are stories. So it makes a lot of sense for me to be in that realm of, singer, songwriter, storyteller. And but you also got to remember too, like I was actually the last show I played, I was talking with this guy. He was from Florida, this guy Jimmy, and whenever I play a show and there's people that I know there, I always make a joke. I say, "Oh, this song's by Sons of Mary, the greatest band to ever come out of Chicago." And he's like, "Oh, what about John Prine?" And I laughed and I said, "Well, John Prine's not from Chicago; he's from Maywood." So, but yeah, you got guys like John Prine who were, you also got Steve Goodman who came from Chicago. He wrote "Go Cubs Go." He wrote "You Never Call Me by My Name." A lot of famous songwriters and musicians came out of Chicago, but it's mainly because of that migration up here and then back down.
Yeah. No, I know, like with the history of music, especially with blues, like you just mentioned, the textile working, people from the South, bringing that culture, the blues especially. I know that is a big scene in Chicago. Maybe jazz as well, in terms of that eclectic style.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I think jazz is, from what that was like more of like a New York thing.
Okay.
But blues was, right up Chicago blues. You got Chess Records down on the South Side. That was like a famous label that put out a lot of the old records back then. And you have a lot of singers came out of Chicago that were the Sam Cooke's from Chicago. I'm trying to think, like so many people just that you forget they're all started here. You're like, oh yeah, Buddy Guy. Plus, then you got guys like the Smashing Pumpkins. So,
from Illinois, yeah.
Yeah.
As you get older, you just said your taste of music has matured. In terms of writing, I know that sometimes they say I've been reading this. You hit this peak, especially at a certain age. It's almost like your mid to late 20s of your creatives. Juices flowing, and it's like almost like there's a peak in terms of what you can put out. But do you feel like in terms of you getting in, being an older, more mature artist, musician, singer, songwriter, do you feel like you're getting in stride to at least getting the music that you like and the music that you want to hear back from yourself and from your band?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've really hit my I don't think I've written my best song yet. And like I said, with it's particularly where the song Where the Road Is, the song is more of like a journey of all the places I've been, I've lived, and the things I've done. And I never could. There was the first song I ever wrote, actually. I wrote the first uh, two verses to that song, and I added them obviously as I got older, and I didn't finish recording it until I was, in my 30s. And one of the things that I never could get a good version of it was because I really wanted it to be a very traditional country song. And so when I was playing in my old band, we were really heavy into blues rock. And so it never worked because they didn't really want to play country music. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where that song was. And I knew where it was. I knew exactly where it had to be for it to be as good as it is. It wasn't going to work as a rock song. It wasn't going to work as a pop song. It didn't, that's not what it was. And once I finally got it to where it is now, I mean, I think it's my best song to date as a composition. Um, and so that's one of those things where, you know, it takes a long time. I mean, if you watch an interview with somebody like Chris Stapleton, I mean, he's written so many songs, hit songs. And I mean, he talks about how he's got songs that were 15 years old that he wrote. And then finally he found a place for him on an album, 15 years later. So,
I've been asking this question, so if you have seen a few of these episodes, I apologize, but I'm really liking these questions, especially this one. To a singer-songwriter yourself, you just talked about the maturity of your music, but you also just said in terms of the sound that you finally wanted and you being now into your 30s. So what is right now more important for you? Is it the music or the lyric?
mm, I don't know. I mean, I think you gotta, I think it's gotta be a combo of both. I
Mm-hmm.
really, just because, I guess depending on the way there's some people out there who just write really good hooks and they have really good music, and then you listen to the lyrics and they're very generic. And that's cool. I mean, that's what, a lot of people, that's what they want to hear. And so I have songs like that too. But, you know, um, I really feel like for me personally, I gotta have the music. First off, the music has to be right.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. I can't, I mean, if you have a good song, you can play a really great song acoustic and you don't need anything else. So, um, that being said, you might have a really great song on acoustic, and then you you can actually ruin that song by adding too much to it. In
Yeah.
my view, I have a song called Night Train, which so the first version I ever recorded this song, I recorded it on my MacBook Pro when I was like 20 years old. And to this day, if you listen to that version, anybody who's heard my music will tell you that's the best version of that song. Even though the version I have out there on my album is a full band, it's got all these really cool parts, and I like it. I think it sounds awesome. But, you know, that's just what they say. Hey, that's the best version. Is the original version that was recorded, and maybe that's just because they heard it first, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the one they like. I don't know, but it just it really depends on the song. I honestly think mainly it's just the songs that you hear a song and then you know where it's got to go, and especially that's the great thing when I work with my producer Amory and my drummer. He knows me and he understands where I want to take the songs, and he understands how to make the song the most important thing. And he works with a lot of people and are trying to explain to them, like, look, you got this great song, but you don't need a 9-minute piano part in here. That's completely ridiculous and doesn't need to happen. If you're going to play it live like that, that's one thing. But You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to just less is more.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you write a really great song, you just play it on a guitar and that's it. I mean, people are going to gravitate towards it.
Yeah, I know. We've had a couple musicians. I know, like Lyle Oliver mentioned, when you write a song, you can write it on the piano, but if it sounds good with an acoustic guitar, you got to hit. I know that you adding Rosalind Turner, and she's a fantastic fiddle player, and really it does make the song. I mean, I hope, you know, you'd mentioned that you were going to play the song for us today on your guitar, but it completes it. But I wanted to ask you, in terms of if your next song is coming up and you're trying to get that, again, that country sound, what are you trying to use in terms of another additional instrument? Would you use, again, the fiddle? Are you using a piano? Maybe a steel guitar, or maybe a steel pedal? Steel guitar?
Well, the next song I'm working on right now, it's called The Poor Man's Dollar. And we're going to see, like, I talked to Rosalind. She said she's going to be, she said send it to her and she'll see if she can throw something down for it. And I also think her band that she plays in, she's got a steel guitar player, and she's going to ask him if he'll lay some stuff down for it. And, you know, that's what we'll see. I mean, we might record those parts and it might not be what we want. It might not work.
Yeah.
So, which is the way, you know, that's kind of how we do things. We just kind of like record parts and then we go like, no, that's not going to do it. We're not going to put it in there. That's not going to work. So that's kind of how we do it.
Well, here, before we get into, I want to again now talk about, like, just in terms of when you started writing it. You've somewhat laid down a little bit of the history of the song, but before that, I do want to mention this was going to be a theme here with the beards. I can't get the fun pictures going. I was going to add Rasputin. I think I had a Walt Whitman picture. I had a Robert Redford picture, but we'll have to do that another day. The Instagram Live has changed to where I can't open up now my pictures, and it's not letting me do it. So I do apologize, Bond. It would have been fun, and I'm sure you would have gotten all of them correct. But I want to mention our sponsor here. It's LombardMen.com. I'm trying to grow my beard so it looks like yours. I mean, that thing is gorgeous, my friend. So I mean, let me ask you, how long does something like that take?
Man, I want to say this started in, what are we in, 2022? So 2 years ago, probably.
Okay.
That was the last time I shaved.
And
that was it.
And it's your thing now. I mean, I've noticed that, like, anytime something comes up on my feed on Instagram or social media, I know that that's Bon Henry with that.
Yeah, I don't know if I can shave it at this point, so.
I have seen some pictures, though, of, and maybe, I guess it was a couple years ago, with you clean shaven. I mean,
yeah,
you look like a supermodel. So it's something to consider, I'm sure. I'm sure your wife likes both. But
I haven't cut my hair or my beard. I basically just said, let it go. It's too much work for me. Now it's so easy with the long hair and the beard. It's either like braids, a ponytail, and then this. I don't have to shave. I don't have to do anything. And easy. I don't even have to. I really probably should get some of the beard oil you're using, because sometimes I get like, it gets like clumpy. But other than that, I just brush it out.
Well, guess what? This is your lucky day, my friend. We are going to send you some Lombard Men, right? Some hair lotion, beard oil, directly to you. You're a good friend of ours. We wanted to send that. So for everybody else, go check them out. It's lombardmen.com, or you check out their social media. It's Lombard Hair Lotion. So I wanted to send that out to you, Bon Henry. I don't know if you'll need, because like I said, you're a musician. You can get away with stuff like this. You know, people recognize you down the street. I'm sure down Michigan Avenue. You're a local rock star playing at North Wrigleyville, right? So if you don't mind, so if you could go back, and I want to talk about the single. It's just because for us, and my wife and I, producing a show like this, we got to know Rosalind Turner, like you said, from Indiana. We made a great relationship with her, and just so glad that we were able. I know somewhat able to connect you to. But the song just came out so beautifully. We were lucky enough to hear it, when you were kind of in the mid to final stages of producing it. If you don't mind, you just said it was one of the first. It was one of your first songs that you wrote, and just the behind that and why it took so long. If you don't mind me asking.
Well, so it was like one of the first songs I wrote. Mainly because when I first really started getting back into playing guitar, it was the easiest chords I could play and sing at the same time. I wasn't really as good as I am, as well practiced as I am now. And I played this song. This song is actually, it's funny, it's kind of like this song is the song when I knew that I should be playing music. So I was at a house party, and it was at DePaul University, and one of my good friends was a rapper, and we actually did a collaboration of this song. And so we're at this house party, and somebody had a guitar hanging on the wall, and he wanted to like perform for everybody. So he grabs a guitar off the wall, and he hands it to me, and he goes, "Hey, start playing." And I'm like, "All right." So I just start. And then he starts rapping, he does his verse, and then I start singing, "Tell me where the road is, I can go home." And I play the whole song, and then it's over with, and everyone's like, "Yeah." And, a bunch of people come up to me and was like, "Man, were you the guy singing?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Man, you're really good. Like, what else do you do?" And I was like, "I don't really do anything else," because I only knew like 5 songs at the time, and they were all Johnny Cash songs. And so then I was like, "Yeah, I was like, maybe I'll try doing this." And then about a week later, a friend of mine, he was in a band called No Fate, and they were like a heavy metal band. And they had a show at DePaul, and he's like, "Hey, our opener dropped out. Would you mind filling in?" And I'm like, "Sure." And at that time, like I said, I mean, all the songs that I could play were just originals. I really didn't play any covers back then. And I played, my first show at that was really just this show at DePaul in front of like all these people. And I didn't even, it just happened to be that way. And people just liked it. And that's kind of, I just picked it up and I just ran with it. I'm like, wow, okay.
No, it's definitely been one of our favorites.
And so really what happened with the song was, like I spent some time in Memphis. My family lives in Memphis. I lived out in California. I lived in Arizona. I've traveled, like I've lived, I've been everywhere. And really, it's kind of like in the vein of that Johnny Cash song, "I've been everywhere." It's just kind of like it's just a song kind of like documenting like where I've been and the things I've seen. And like I said, I mean, it took me this long because really that's how long it took. I lived that long. So I documented my life up until that point, really.
It definitely feels like that. I just some of the lyrics. I was just curious in terms of the connection. You had mentioned it in our interview, the first one, with your connection with Tennessee, Memphis, and traveling all over the place and just finding yourself. I think a lot of us can relate, and maybe that's why I love the song so much. I want to give you an opportunity to plug social media. But if you don't mind, you got the guitar out. Let's see the guitar, the beautiful guitar that has all sponsorships and stickers and from all over the place. I feel like that guitar has been everywhere, almost like looking for its road itself. You got the blue.
Pretty much same thing. Like, this guitar, I just started putting stickers on it. I actually started putting stickers on this guitar. My first recording session I ever had, my uncle was a professional Elvis impersonator, and he was recording commercials for Budweiser. And he had this whole thing he was doing with Budweiser. And so he had this his friend used to play in a band called Scramble. They used to be actually the Chicago Bears used to have a full live band that played on the field when back in the 80s and 90s. And they were the band, and my uncle was the singer. And so anyways, he had this whole recording session, and he told me like, "Hey, listen, I'm going to do my songs, whatever time's left over, you guys come out and you record. And so we're sitting there and we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And he called himself One Take Jim Lawson, but it took about 150 takes. So in the end, we got like 15 minutes. And my mom was with me at the time. She drove the Guitar Center because I broke a string. And she went and picked up all these stickers. And now they're under here. You can't see them, but this is one of the originals. And so we're bored. We started putting stickers on the guitar. And really, that's how it took off, and then just started adding them. So there's stickers from everywhere. I mean, there's stickers from Germany. There's stickers from Montana. Right there, that's from Chattanooga, Banff, Canada. I mean, all over the place. And that's kind of just, it just keeps going, really.
All right, so now I was going to have you just play, but I got to ask, when are we going to see you, in terms of your plans this summer? I know you said you're recording some new music. You're also doing a lot of things in Chicago, but are you going elsewhere? Are you going out of state? Can we find you, in Canada or Kalamazoo, Michigan? What's your schedule like?
Well, right now I'm going to be in, I just actually, right before this, I just confirmed, I'm going to be playing Aaron Shriver, the guy that does the Gain and Fast on Memphis podcast. I'm going to be playing his birthday party in Nashville, 6/25 in June. So the end of the month, I'll be down there. I'm going to play that. And then in August, I'm going to be up in Wisconsin and Green Bay for a couple dates. I'm playing a friend of mine's wedding. They're having a huge wedding up there. So he asked me to come play the wedding, and then they want me to stay in town and play some stuff up there. And really just wait, that's about it for now, but we'll see. I mean, like I said, I'll go anywhere. I don't care. We're trying to, we might play this place. We're working on getting it in Indiana called Agave Mansion, I believe it's called. I just reached out to them, and they said they're going to send me some dates. But yes, I would love to come play in Texas, even though my good friend is actually moving out of Texas. He's coming back to Illinois. I was like, I think he's lost his mind. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Texas, I'd love to come down. We've been talking about that, maybe coming down to Texas, playing some shows. And, if I do out of state stuff, it's going to be acoustic, just because for the most part, it's hard for me to get at this stage. They're not going to really, it just boils down to like, it's expensive to drive there. And then like I said, my drummer's also a producer, so he's got to shut down his studio. So, we kind of need to, that's why we've been doing a lot of local stuff, just because it's easy. He can record all day, and then like tonight I'll pick him up and we'll head out and we'll play, but we're working on building it up, and we're, slowly but surely we've been gaining tons of followers and all over the country. I mean, I just had a guy randomly start messaging me from Brazil who was like, "Hey, would you come to Brazil and play?" And I'm like, yeah, but that's going to cost. Yeah, it's going to cost me a little bit of money to get down to Brazil. But if you want to pay for it, just let me know. I'll come down.
Well, here, before we get the song, let's do this. Let's plug your social media. Let's get you some more followers. Let's get. So where can we find you? How do we find you? How do we listen to you?
So on all the music platforms, it's just going to be under Bon Henry, Spotify, everything. Apple Music, Amazon, YouTube, Bon Henry Band or Bon Henry, Instagram, Bon Henry, Twitter. I think Twitter is like real Boss Hog Bond, I think is my handle on there.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. What other social media is there? I don't even know. Basically, any TikTok. Yeah, TikTok, Bon Henry Music. TikTok. Any social media platform that exists, chances are I have a profile for music on there. There's so many now, I can't even think of them all. But yeah, so Bon Henry is the main thing. Just look it up, and you'll see, probably see this beard, and then you'll know it's me.
Well, let's give a shout out. You have is it Berne?
So my actually this workwear company, they make you know, workwear stuff. They're actually out of Indiana as well. They're called Berne, and yeah, they send me all these clothes for free.
Yeah, I
They're
love.
and yeah, they got really good stuff. I mean, the jackets they send me, the shirts, they send me all kinds of cool stuff. They even sent me a man, I don't think I have it with me. I think it's upstairs. They sent me, and it was so random too. I'm like, why would they send me this? And lo and behold, I needed it. So there you go. It was you know, when you redo your screen windows, the little tool that pushed the the
Yeah.
tubing in, they sent me a tubing. Uh, I'm like, this is so random, but out of nowhere, I needed it. So they knew. Maybe they cut my windows. I don't know.
Uh,
But
you wear
also,
a pair of overalls. Do they also make the overalls?
yes, they made I wear my overalls every show. They gave me the overalls, and yeah, they're awesome. I've been
No,
wearing
they're
those.
like a signature look for you.
Yeah, and then I also got this from the
Oh, that's
YeeHatx. Oh yeah, so I had to give a shout out to this beautiful hat was made for me, custom. Um, this is one of my hats, my show hats. So this was made for me by I think you know the person that made it for me.
yeah. I'm familiar. I think it might be my roommate or slash wife. But it's I know she did something unique with your big inspiration is Stevie Ray Vaughan, and so I know that you kind of wanted
And
to
then
do a famous hat, and I think she did pretty good on that one. So it's
yeah, and
definitely
if
one of
you
my.
can see this right here, it says Loretta, and that's this hat's called the Loretta hat, and that's named after my daughter. She just turned 7 months, and the
Oh,
hat was made for her.
oh, that's very cool.
So, but it's an incredible hat. So if you need a hat like that, not
Well,
that one though.
trust me, I'm way down on the list of specialty custom hats. Well, hey, Bon Henry, man, it's been a joy. I didn't get the game going, okay? We're going to have to figure this out for next time, but I'm going to tell all of my audience here, okay? I know for you watching and for everyone who is rewatching this episode, we got something special for you. We're going to run a promotional contest. It's going to be, you have to name all 5 beards. The first person to do that, we're going to post that on our Instagram. The first person to name all 5 will get your own, very own hair and beard oil from Lombard Men. And that is our sponsor here with Bandwagon TV. So, Bon Henry, thank you so much for joining us. I know this is something that we want to do every Friday, and you're more than welcome to just to keep us in the loop. We love knowing what you got going on, especially this new single that you're working on right now with you and the team and the band. So definitely keep us updated. But I think it's time that we want to hear that beautiful song of yours that you did featuring Rosalind Turner, and this is the acoustic version of Where the Road Is.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
So yeah. All right. This song's called Where the Road Is. Well, I spent some time down in Memphis, Tennessee, just to see if I had a lot of peace in me. I walked around like a blind old fool. Now see the only piece of me I lost was you. Tell me where the road is, and I can go on. Tell me where the road is, yeah. Tell me where the road is, and I can get on. I've been traveling on the road. I spent some time out west in California. That Golden State River never ever gets cold. Where all the people and the places might go. After a while, baby, that go, yeah, so, where the road is, not go on home. Tell me where the road is, yeah. Tell me where the road is, I can get on. I've been traveling all alone. I spent some time southwest in Arizona, watched my education low. Probably should have stayed inside and not taking it too far. Then again, I never would have came home. Picked up my guitar, where the road is, not go on home. Tell me where the road is, yeah. Tell me where the road is, I can get on home. I've been traveling all alone. Now Chicago is the place that I call home. The only place I know is true and true. The only place I know treated me just like a wonderful. Only place I know is gonna be there for me too. Tell me where the road is, not to go on. Where the road is, yeah. Tell me where the road is, I can get on. I've been traveling all alone.
There she is. That's what we wanted to hear. Thank you so much. It's been great just catching up. And are we expecting big things to happen with your Bears? I mean, I was gonna say the Cubs, but they're kind of par 500 this season.
Yeah, I think that I think we're gonna have to keep waiting for that one.
Notice this season I didn't ask you to play Go Cubs Go. I just figured right now.
No, they're not looking too hot.
But you never know the Bears. See, it's always Bears season. It's like right around the corner, though, right? You got Justin Fields.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? The Bears are one of those things where you just kind of gotta. I feel like my whole life the Bears could beat the best team in the league, and then lose 4 games in a row to the 4 worst teams. So
Yeah.
No.
And then damn Aaron Rodgers.
Well, yeah, that's the other problem we have.
Well, hey, Bon Henry, thank you so much. We're going to post this episode right away. We're also going to get this contest up, so definitely check it out and submit. Remember, name those beards and you'll get your free Lombard Men hair and oil beard products. So thanks again, Bon Henry. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'll see you guys.
Thank you, sir.